Do not say things. What you are stands over you the while, and thunders so that I cannot hear what you say to the contrary. This quote by Ralph Emerson highlights that a person's actions will always be louder than their words. But it is very ironic that Emerson himself is using the medium of poetry, which is made up of words, to make such a statement. Kathy York takes this quote a step further, covering up the words with color-coded applique circles. Hidden Messages by Kathy York recontextualizes the message of Emerson's poem. Of this work, she says, "Sometimes we don't see all the significant or relevant actions. They can be hidden from us, which led me to the metaphor of hiding the message here. It is iterative. To hide the message about hiding the truth with inaccurate words." The construction and narrative of a quilt is an effective way to iterate upon common ideas, but in new formats. For example, let's take a look at two similar quilts from different eras. Modern Meets Modern showcases what happens when the modern of the past meets the modern of the now. We ask questions such as, what does it really mean to be iterative? Or, what does it really mean to be transformative? When you look at both of these double wedding ring quilts, you might think the answer is easy, but it's not always that simple. In both quilts, we see melon shapes and square shapes where the circles connect. The outline of Victoria Findlay Wolfe's double-edged love quilt is the same as a traditional double wedding ring quilt. However, Wolfe's quilt is incredibly modern in its use of negative space. Arcs of pink and black fabrics extend beyond the normal limits of a more traditional double wedding ring composition. If we were to assign a strategy to this quilt, would it fall under iterative or transformative? When I asked Wolfe this question in regard to her use of historical quilt examples, she stated, "I use them as a stepping stone, keeping the traditional aspect of construction with respect for the quilters that come before." I think understanding the roots of quilting and the value of standard construction is important and applies in any of the kind of work I do. Having traditional roots is a beautiful place to explore all types of quilt making. I make whatever inspires me on any given day. I make traditional quilts, I make modern quilts, and I make art quilts when I want to. Wolfe's work could be said to be iterative, as it reapplies traditional knowledge to create a quilt that expresses her own artistry and craftsmanship. It could also be said to be transformative, as it takes a familiar form and adds on to it, until it takes on a life of its own. Iteration and transformation are these terms that can always clearly define an artist's design principles, or a work of art itself. At what point do either techniques create the end of the old and the beginning of the new? Does the original ever truly leave, or is it just constantly being reworked? When you come to Modern Meets Modern, look for these similarities and ask yourself,